Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So, it's been almost a year since I first started my journey in Honkai Star Rail. From early game struggles to lucky
Yes! Oh my god, we did it!
and not so lucky summons.
Oh no, no! Oh god! That is the. Oh my god.
And now here we are today reviewing my free-to-play account. Now, I know many of you will question the validity of my free-to-play status, like how is it possible for you to be free-to-play when you have an E2 Imbibitor Lunane? So the first objective of this video is to prove, or at least do my best to prove, my free-to-play status. And to start things off, I will show you the date of this recording by showing you the banner. Currently, it is still Sparkle's banner with 4 days and 2 hours left. Although, by the time I upload this video, it might be near the end of Sparkle's banner, or it might already be past it in 2.1. And you'll see why later I decide to show you guys the date of this recording. Alright, next thing we're going to do is open up the shop. As you can see here, I don't have the Express Supply Pass currently active, so that's another point. And I also don't have any of this currency. I think it's pronounced Oniric Shards or something? I think it's Oniric Shards, whatever. It's the premium currency for Honkai Star Rail. I don't have any of them. And the only way you can get this is through purchases. Okay, I guess we might as well go through the Starlight Exchange. I haven't exchanged anything yet. I'm not sure whether I want to get a light cone or just more summons. I already have 2 of the best 5-star standard light cones. The battle isn't over and Moment of Victory, so that's why I've just been saving them up. Amber's Exchange, I have quite a few. I've only been buying the tickets and the Tracks of Destiny. I may look into buying some trace material in the future because farming traces costs a lot of Trailblaze power. Alright, anyways, back to my free-to-play status, onto the contract shop. As you can see, I've never bought any of these contracts. Honestly, even if I were spending in the game, I don't really think it's worth spending for these things, so I will never touch these. And here is the Honoric pouch, basically the top-up system. And as you can see here, I have the first time top-up bonus for all of the purchases, which means I've never bought any. And the reason why I showed you the date for Sparkle's banner is because in patch 2.1, when we have the 1-year anniversary, this will actually refresh. So for the spenders out there, you can actually get the first time top-up bonus once again when you decide to top up. And if I had showed you guys the video after 2.1, then you guys would have said, oh, but it refreshed. So you might have spent in the game. Anyways, there's that. And Stellar Jade is just Stellar Jades for tickets, which I'll probably be exchanging in the future. Next, let's go to the mailbox. That's the next thing I can use to prove my free-to-play status, or at least sort of. Whenever you buy the monthly pass, they usually send in the daily Stellar Jades through the mailbox, and frankly, I don't ever delete my mail just because I'm too lazy to. I think it's sort of a pain. That's why I still have all the mail from like the daily rewards and everything still in my mailbox. So I'll just go through my mail real quick and you won't really find any, what do you call it? Stellar Jade from the monthly pass. Yeah, these are all just daily login bonuses. Redemption codes. Okay, there is this thing, which is the reward I got from the Content Creator Special Program Rewards. I didn't spend any money on this, so it's technically not pay to win. And come on, guys, it's 160 Stellar Jades. That's 1 pull for making some crappy YouTube videos. So I'm not really going to count that. If you want to count that against me, sure, why not? These are all from events or web events. Compensation, apparently. Oh, okay. And then, of course, the very first pre-registration rewards, where you got Serval and 20 summons. This is actually going to expire in 33 days, so we are about a month away from being officially 1 year old in Honkai Star Rail. Alright, so that's the mailbox. Didn't see any monthly Stellar Jades. So next order of business would be the Nameless Honor, which is basically the Battle Pass. I've never purchased this, as you can see. I did get it all the way to level 70 just for the extra credits. You can unlock it here for real money. You get extra Stellar Jades and some fuel. But I've never really done this, and later on I'll show you guys that I don't have the... You get specific light cones for buying the Battle Pass or Nameless Glory or Honor. And you also get this weird Treasure of the Starry Seas. at level 30, I believe, and I can show you my inventory later to prove that I don't have it and I've never bought the Battle Pass. Next, let's go to the data bank. This is just to show you guys the characters I have and don't have. So for the characters I own, these are all the 5 stars as you can see. Welt is at Eidolon 1, but that's because I pulled extra copy, I think, from one of the limited 5-star banners where I lost a coin flip. All the other 5 stars, okay, Japard's E1 as well, but that's also from the standard banner. All the other characters besides Imbibitor Lunane are just E0. Yep. Imbibitor Lunane I specifically pulled for his Eidolon 2. But everyone else, other than Welt and Japard, who are standard 5 stars, are all at E0. And for the characters not owned, as you can see here, I don't have Topaz, I don't have Luocha, Jingyuan. I did pull on Jingyuan's banner, I didn't get him, so then I waited for Silverwolf's banner. Didn't get Blade, don't have Jing Liu, which kind of sucks because she's cracked as hell. Don't have Ho-Ho, which also sucks because she's also really broken. And I probably wouldn't have pulled for Argenti regardless, but as you can see here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 limited 5-star characters I don't own, and I'm still missing 2 of the standard 5 stars. Really wish I got Himeko. She would have been a really great help for Pure Fiction. And Clara's not that bad either, but I don't know if I have the time and resources to build her at the moment. So there you go. Those are the characters that I own and do not own. Alright, next is going to be my inventory. Resources don't really show you anything, but let's go to light cone real quick. So these are my light cones. As you can see, I don't have a single signature limited 5-star light cone, meaning I've never pulled on a limited 5-star light cone banner. On top of that, if you take a closer look, I don't have a single copy of the Battle Pass or Nameless Glory light cone. And I'm just going to quickly go over each light cone that I've built and invested into, and the backstory behind it. On the Fall of a Neon, obviously I needed a 5-star light cone for Imbibitor Lunane, so I built this one. This was like the very first 5-star light cone that I built, specifically for Zile or Dan Hung. I believe it was just for Zile. I just gave Dan Hung a regular 4-star light cone. But yeah, that was like the very first 5-star light cone I fully maxed out. Bronya's light cone, I was lucky enough to pull on the standard banner. It was actually a double 5-star pull. I got both Welt and Bronya's light cone, so I got pretty lucky there. And it happens to be probably the best standard 5-star light cone. Same with Japard's light cone. I pulled it on the 5-star banner as well, the standard banner. And it was actually my first 5-star standard light cone. And it is probably the second best standard 5-star light cone. And I'm really grateful that I pulled it. It has definitely helped out a lot for my tanks in terms of their stats and utility. Only Silence Remains was like the first Hunt light cone besides Cruising in the Stellar Sea that I built up. I didn't have any better options at the time, and it was only at Super Imposition 1 at the time as well. But I really didn't want to use the free light cone that you got from Forgotten Hall and the weekly boss drops because it's pretty bad. Like, it's basically a mini Yang Qing in terms of light cone, and I really don't like losing my stats just because I got hit. So I decided this one's okay. It's attack buff and some situational crit rate buff, which, I mean, it's probably one of the worst 4-star light cones that you can pull from a banner, but like I said, I didn't have any choice at the time, so I just had to max it out and put it on my Dan Ho. And now it's Super Imposition 3, and I don't really use it anymore, unfortunately. Seriousness of Breakfast, the first Erudition light cone, actually pretty much the only Erudition light cone that I built up, mainly for my Serval. Actually, that's not true. I did build up another Erudition light cone that I'll go over in a moment, but this is the only one that I maxed out, specifically for my Serval. Next are my 2 Dance 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 copies. I did superimpose one of them at the beginning. I probably should have just kept 2 copies, but I ended up pulling another one, so I decided, okay, I'm just going to build up 2, because these 2 actually do stack. So if you have 2 characters on the same team that have Dance Dance Dance, you can actually double advance forward whenever the characters use their ultimate. Memories of the Past, I built this up specifically just for Ruan Mei. Unfortunately, it's only at Superimposition level 1. Before the tutorial mission starts is the free light cone you got from the Silver Wolf event, and I use it between both Silver Wolf and Payload depending on who I need for the current situation. Eyes of the Prey, specifically built up for Black Swan, and I was lucky enough to pull 2 or 3 extra copies on the standard banner when I obtained Bronya a few weeks ago. So now it's at S5, and my Black Swan's actually still missing a little bit of effect hit rate, but she's pretty close, so I'm pretty happy about that. Good Night Sleep Well is probably one of the best 4-star DPS Lycones for Nihility, and I just built it up today just for my Kafka. It's only at Super Imposition level 2, so hopefully we can pull more copies in the future. Day 1 of my new life is probably the first Preservation Lycone that I ever built up. I was lucky enough to pull one early on in the game, but I never got an extra copy until recently, so I got it to Super Imposition 2. Perfect Timing, probably the most universally useful 4-star Abundance Lycone. Every healer enjoys the effect res, because when you have your healer hard CC'd, it's not a fun time. So I currently have it on my Bailu. Post-op Conversation was the very first Abundance Lycone that I built up, I believe. And it is actually really good on both Bailu and Natasha, who I used early game. I managed to pull a bunch of copies throughout my gameplay, so now it's at Super Imposition level 5. If I pull any more copies in the future, I'm not sure if I want to build up another copy. I'll probably end up just tossing those for Lycone EXP. But I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat is probably the most universal Nihility Lycone that can pretty much be used on any Nihility character. Built it up for my Pela, but honestly I put it on any of my Nihility characters as like a filler Lycone. Make the World Clamor was the very first Erudition Lycone that I built up specifically for my Serval. We did get it for free for pre-registration rewards, but eventually through more gameplay and experience, I figured that this Lycone's actually not that great. Even on Serval, there's like better Lycones that you can use because the energy regeneration is only 1 time, and I guess the ultimate damage increase is nice, but honestly, you probably get more damage just from something like the Breakfast Lycone because it just has a straight up damage increase for everything instead of just only the ultimate. So I was like, this Lycone's not that great. Maybe I'll find a better use for it in the future. That's why I kind of stopped building it. Past and Future was probably my very first Harmony Lycone that I built up for my Ting Young. I didn't really have any better options at the time, and I didn't really want to invest in a 3-star Lycone. Unironically, one of the best 3-star Lycones is actually for Harmony down here, Meshing Cogs. I'm going to build up one of these eventually in the future. But obviously, like at the time, I had a hard bias towards 3-star Lycones. I just didn't like having the very low base stats that I provided. But turns out, Meshing Cogs is probably one of the best Harmony Lycones, just due to the amount of energy you can gain from it. But as soon as I pulled a different Harmony Lycone, I instantly stopped building up Past and Future. And now it's just at level 60 at Super Imposition level 4. Landau's Choice was the second Preservation Lycone that I built up, along with, I forgot the name, this one right here. Day 1 of my new life. But I eventually stopped building it because I managed to pull Japard's Lycone, and that's basically a better version of this. And this is the Lycone that I was originally trying to build for my Dan Hung, River Flows in Spring. This is the free hunt Lycone you can get from MOC, Memory of Chaos, and the weekly boss drops. I really just don't like this Lycone. I tried to build it up, and I thought about it, and I said to myself, nah, I don't ever see this being better than any of the other 4-star Lycones that you can get from summons, so I eventually stopped building it. Same with this 4-star Abundance Lycone. It's also free from Memory of Chaos and the weekly boss drops. I just think that the energy regeneration is a little bit too RNG based, and it's very specific or situational. So you get better Abundance Lycones from summoning, and you even get a really good Abundance Lycone for free if you do there's like an event with Guinaifen, Sushang, and HOYO. This Abundance Lycone you get for free is pretty solid. It's good on pretty much any healer. Right, and that's pretty much it for the Lycones. I'm not going to go over the ones I haven't invested into yet, as that would take up too much time. Relics, yeah, we're going to skip relics because it's a complete mess, and I still have to clean up my inventory. I don't know what these are. Oh, these are for the consumables and stuff. Same with this. These are quest items. I don't know if you guys want to see these, so I'm going to skip that. This is the important part. I believe this is where the Battle Pass Lycone box is kept. And if you look closely, I don't have any of those. I do have the supply material box that you can technically get from the pay-to-win boxes, but you can also get them from free from rewards from Simulated Universe Swarm Disaster and the Arm Alley event featuring Su Sheng. I think you can still get it even though the event passed. Okay, and that's pretty much it for inventory, so let's move on to my character investments now. Okay, let's start things off with my Black Swan. These are her stats. Missing a little bit, 5% effect hit rate to get the maximum effects. That's pretty much just down to Relic RNG now. Light Cones, of course, is Eyes of the Prey at Super Imposition level 5. These are her traces. I recently put more investment into it, and I think this is fine. I don't want to put any more investment. I think these two skills and the basic attack aren't really worth it. The main one you want to max out is definitely her talent. That's where the majority of her damage comes from. These are her relics. Definitely needs some more improvement. I mean, they're usable for now, but yeah, definitely more improvement to be made. And she doesn't have any Eidolons. Alright, next is her partner in crime, Kafka. These are her stats. Light Cone is Good Night Sleep Well at S2. Traces I also recently built up. I think they're at a good enough level. The HP is optional, and she should never be using her basic attack. So I think I am done with her traces as well. Relics are a whole different story. They can definitely be improved, although I believe my Kafka probably has slightly better relics than Black Swan. I'm not sure, maybe they're about the same. And 0 Eidolons, of course. Alright, next is Ruan Mei. These are her stats. She's missing a little bit of break effect, but honestly that can probably be fixed with just another copy of her Lycone for Super Imposition. Speaking of her Lycone, Memories of the Past at S1. Traces, I decided not to invest anymore as I saw that later levels provided very little gains and a lot of resources. So I think I'm pretty much done with her. These are relics. They're pretty solid, honestly. Pretty decent. Maybe I want her to be a little bit faster at 161, but I guess it's fine for now. Eidolons, she does not have any. Alright, and here's Little Bailu, my very first 5-star character that I obtained from the starter/beginner banner. Despite the criticism she has received due to her lacking a cleanse or CC immunity, Bailu has been a staple for me as a solo healer since the early days of Honkai Star Rail, and has saved me many times during critical situations. I still use her to this very day, and she does her job well of keeping my team alive in endgame content, such as the Memory of Chaos. So anyways, these are her stats. A lot of effect res, so she doesn't get hard crowd controlled or CC'd. That's the last thing you want for Bailu, because she can't revive anyone when she's crowd controlled, so yeah. Lycone is perfect timing that provides a bunch of effect resist at Super Imposition level 2. These are her traces. I think I did overinvest a little bit. Her ultimate probably shouldn't be level 9. I probably should have stopped at level 8. And these two could be like level 6. And I probably should have used the investment I put into her, ultimate, into the effect res here. Because she can benefit from the effect res. She gets more healing and she has a lower chance of getting stunned, essentially, or getting hard CC. So, yeah. I messed up a bit on her traces. But whatever, I got good use out of her. And I still use her to this very day, so it's not that bad. Alright, here are her relics. It's a 2-piece speed and 2-piece HP along with a broken keel. Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, and here's the man. One Strike Dog. The best free character in the game. Obviously ignoring Dr. Ratio. The Fire Trailblazer has aided me so much during the early and mid game as a budget tank and strong defensive/utility support. Even to this day, I still use him in the Simulated Universe and some pure fiction content. He or she is pretty much a must-build character for any free-to-play player. That being said, I can't really show you his stats. Well, I guess I can, but he's not geared right now, so we're not going to do that. No Lycone. These are his traces. Very low investment. He doesn't need much investment to get the job done. No relics. And of course, he's at Eidolon 6 because you get these Eidolons for free just from playing through the main storyline. Alright, and next is my Fu Xuan, my primary tank. These are her stats. Lycone is day 1 of my new life. Sometimes I use the Gepard Lycone depending on the situation, but currently Gepard is using that Lycone. These are her traces. I might put a little bit more investment for the extra HP and effect res here and there. Maybe a few more points in her ultimate for the quote-unquote more damage, but honestly, it's not a major concern of right now. These are her relics. She's running a 2-piece HP, speed, and a Fleet of the Ages, which is an HP set as well. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Okay, next is my Silver Wolf. She's not currently geared at the moment because Palo has taken her gear due to pure fiction reasons, but I put quite a bit of investment into her as well. A Lycone, she usually uses the, what do you call it? That free Lycone you get from the event, I already forgot the name. Before the tutorial mission starts, there you go. These are her traces, very high investment. I probably still want to unlock this attack node, and then I'm still debating on whether or not I want to max these two out. It does cost a lot of material, so I might forego it and just go for the attack percent, as she is a sub DPS and a debuffer on my mono quantum team. Relics are currently a mess. No Eidolons either. Alright, here's Zile, my very first limited 5-star character as well as hyper carry. And she has been doing an excellent job ever since the day I pulled her. I've pretty much used her everywhere from Simulated Universe, Memory of Chaos, and even full cleared one side of Pure Fiction with her. And she is by far my most well-built character, at least relic-wise. I mean, it makes sense. I've had her for the longest time, so I've had the longest time to farm her relics up. So it's only understandable that I can get her stats up to this level. So speaking of her stats, these are her stats. I can always have a little bit more crit rate, so I don't have to rely on Fu Xuan's Matrix for the Rutulin set, but it's just min-maxing at this point, and I really don't want to go back to that Quantum Domain. If I'm going to get more crit rate, it's probably going to be from her Planar Sphere and Link Rope. Her Lycone is, of course, cruising in the Stellar Sea at Superimposition level 5. Traces are essentially maxed out, minus her basic attack. I think it's a waste of investment. And of course, these are her quote-unquote cracked relics. Of course, they can always be better, but I mean, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough trying to beat this out. I guess her boots, which took the longest time to farm, could use some improvement, but honestly, look at this. 3 rolls and a crit damage, and then I guess these two are kind of bad. Could have taken the break effect or defense and rolled in the crit rate one more time to make it even better, but it's already pretty insane. And her sphere could use improvement. It's already pretty good, though. Honestly, it's probably her Link Rope. One of these stats could be crit damage instead of defense, which rolled into it twice. But, like I said, pretty good relics overall. And of course, no Eidolons. Alright, next is my second limited 5-star hyper carry. Nowhere nearly as well built as my Zile, but he can definitely still deal similar, if not even more damage than her, just because of his Eidolon 2. I will say that I'm glad I decided to make the risky choice of pulling for his Eidolon 2. Otherwise, he would have just been overshadowed and power crept by a free 5-star by the name of Dr. Ratio. If I had known that we would be getting a free 5-star imaginary DPS that powerful ahead of time, I probably would have skipped Imbiber Lunane's banner entirely. But let's be real here. The free Dr. Ratio event was completely out of the blue, and no one could have expected the amount of generosity that HOYO-verse would provide to us. Anyways, these are his stats. Could definitely use more crit damage. His crit rate is pretty solid, obviously. Just gotta work on his crit damage for even more damage. Lycone is on the Fall of Neon at S5. Traces are completely maxed out. And these are his relics. His boots are pretty bad. That's where he needs improvement. So does his Planar Sphere. He could have crit damage or... yeah, pretty much just crit damage. Speed, not so much. I mean, if there is speed like this one, I'll take it. But other than that, yeah, this could have crit damage as well. And of course, his Eidolons, he's at E2. Like I mentioned a million times already. Alright, next is Ting Young, pretty much Imbiber Lunane's best support. These are her stats. For her Lycone, she's on Dance Dance Dance, the one that's Superimposition level 2. These are her traces. Relics, she's on a 4-piece Musketeer, because I currently have a lot of supports on the speed set anyways, and Ting Young is one of the few supports that can actually utilize the Musketeer set fairly well, and it gives her a lot of speed as well. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 4. Alright, and here is my Serval. She basically served as my early to mid-game AoE lightning DPS slash sub DPS. I still bring her back occasionally for some content, such as the time when Pure Fiction was first introduced. Overall, I don't really regret investing into her. I did need an AoE damage dealer at the time. She just eventually got replaced by Kafka. So, what are you gonna do, right? I can show you her stats, but they're kind of low because I don't have relics on her. Lycone, of course, is the seriousness of breakfast at S5. Traces, I might have gone a little bit overboard. Maybe not. No, I kind of needed her to clear MOC or Memory of Chaos at the time, so I actually don't think the Trace investment was too bad of an idea. I mean, I did stop after a certain point because I knew that she was eventually going to get replaced. So, there you go. Relics, I guess she does have some relics equipped, but they're kind of all jumbled all over the place. Surprisingly enough, she's at E0, so if she had more Eidolons, I feel like she'd be even stronger, and I could use her more often, but I never managed to pull an extra copy of her for some reason. Next is Sushang, the chicken. My favorite character in all of Honkai Star Rail. And for that reason, why would I not build her? However, I didn't build her at first, when I first pulled her, of course, mainly because of the lack of hunt material from building up both Zile and Danheng as my two main DPS at the time. And Zile still needed some more investment and improvement during that time, so I eventually built her during the drought period, as I like to call it, when the endgame content was so easy, and I had an abundance of resources. Anyways, I will show you her stats even though I don't think she has any relics, so it's not really going to matter that much. Lycone, I usually give her Zile's Lycone when I use her, the Cruising in the Stellar Sea. Currently she has Danheng's Lycone because, I don't know, I just needed a placeholder, so there you go. These are her traces. I put quite a bit of investment. Obviously, I can invest more for the attack. I don't really care for the HP node here, but I have to go through the defense node. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess maybe I don't think you ever want to use her basic attack, so I'll probably ignore that. And then this is just more speed. Yeah, her ultimate and skill are maxed out, so I definitely did not skimp out in terms of investment for her traces. No relics, and Eidolon, she's actually at E5. One more copy, and then we have E6 Chicken. Oh boy, here's Danny Boy, my very first DPS character that I built. Oh man, it's been quite a journey with Danny Boy here. It was such a struggle to clear Memory of Chaos Stage 10 with 3 stars back in the day using this guy. And I believe it was either the 5th or 6th season of Memory of Chaos. The name of the season was Adrift in Astral Seas, that I finally managed to 3-star Stage 10. Also, by the way, for those newer players out there, Memory of Chaos used to only have 10 floors, so this to me was quite the accomplishment at the time. And honestly, I don't regret building up this guy because I didn't have any better single target DPS options available at the time, and I failed to pull Jingyuan on his banner. So therefore, I decided to just wait until the next cracked limited 5-star hyper carry was released, which, ironically, eventually came in the form of Imbibitor Lune. Anyways, I'm going to skip the stats because he's not equipped with anything. I will go over his traces. I did have to put in quite a bit of investment, although I think it was well worth it since I was able to 3-star the Memory of Chaos quite a few times using this guy, and Zile along with him. No relics, like I said. Eidolons, he's at Eidolon 3. I believe when I stopped using him, he was only at Eidolon 2. Either way, still a very useful character for me in the early game. Alright, next is Sparkle. Let me go over her stats real quick. For her Lycone, she's using Dance, 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 the one at S1. Traces, I probably will put more points into her skill. I will max it out eventually. These are her relics, 4-piece speed set. I want to eventually give her a broken keel set, but currently, if I do that, she won't be fast enough and it'll mess up all her stats in general. Eidolons, she does not have any. Alright, next is my Bronya, who finally decided to show up after almost a year. So these are her stats. Lycone is her signature Lycone, but the battle isn't over at S1. These are her traces. I think they're more than enough in terms of investment. I might eventually level up her basic and the wind damage a little bit more to make her like a quote-unquote sub-DPS, but ideally you want to be using her skill most of the time. Sometimes you can use her basic attack if you fail to have enough skill points for your hyper carry, but other than that, She's mostly there for the buffs. Relics, 4-piece speed, and I actually managed to give her a broken keel set, so that's really nice. As for Eidolons, she currently doesn't have any, but the day I get her E1 will be a glorious day. Alright, here's Natasha, everyone's first healer. And back in the day, you didn't have a choice but to build her. Nowadays, you have plenty of healer options available, and you can even obtain Lynx for free, who is essentially a better version of Natasha. Regardless, I still don't regret building her. She's definitely been of great help by keeping my early game teammates alive and healthy. I don't think I ever equipped, so I'm not going to show you her stats. Lycone, I did have her on post-op conversation, although it was at a lower superimposition level at the time. I only recently pulled the extra copies. These are her traces, fairly low investment for the most part. I think I might have over-leveled this. Yeah, this probably should be level 8 instead of level 9. I have Eidolons for her, that's why it's currently at level, what do you call it? Level 11. Yeah, this one, I'm glad I did not invest in. This is just 10% extra outgoing healing. And this is the continuous healing. So yeah, the only, like, extra node you'd need is the debuff one. The one that removes debuffs. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. I definitely have pulled my fair share of Natasha copies. Alright, next is Japard, who I actually pulled fairly later on. I believe it was on Fushun's banner, but I still managed to build him because I found some use for him for MOC, Memory of Chaos, and Simulated Universe. Anyways, these are his stats. Like how he's gonna sing Serval's song in the background there. Lycone is Moment of Victory, his signature Lycone at S1. Traces are very underinvested. I think I can probably put one more point in his ultimate just for a larger shield. I have been noticing in the more difficult stages of Simulated Universe, his shield does get popped by very heavy hitting damage. So that extra point might help out. Everything else I'll probably ignore for the most part. I might do this node, but nah, that's probably too much of an investment. These are his relics, a 4-piece defense set with a broken keel set. Honestly, he needs just like one more point of speed, if you guys didn't notice when I show you the stats. So I might make up for it in the broken keel set. We'll see later on. Eidolons, he's actually at Eidolon 1. And next is Welt. I had such high expectations for this guy. I tried him out with my Dan Hung team early on, and he just didn't perform up to my standards. It could have just been that I didn't invest enough resources into him, or it could have been the lack of a proper Lycone and relics at the time. I might give him another chance in the future when I have the spare resources in time. So I'm going to skip out on the stats and Lycone, go straight to the traces. He might need more trace investment like the imaginary damage, the attack, and maybe a few points in his ultimate and skill. Other than that, the only other way I can think of improving him would be relics. I probably didn't have the proper relics at the time. Ideally, I think he wants the 4-piece imaginary set, but I don't really want to go back to that domain either. As for Eidolons, he's actually at Eidolon 1. If I get another copy of him, that'd be really nice. His E2 is really strong. The energy regeneration could make him a bit more usable in different teams. This pink-haired girl that always haunts me when I do my summons. To be fair though, early on, she was an absolute asset for my team. She supported my Natasha in keeping my team alive and free of heavy CC or crowd control. And most importantly, she helped me cheese my way through some of the early game Simulated Universe content through the preservation path. Even now, I still bring her out occasionally in the Simulated Universe, Storm Disaster, and Golden Gears. And I'm definitely glad that I decided to build her early on. Alright, we're going to skip her stats because she's not equipped with anything. For her Lycone, I normally give her day 1 of my new life, her signature Lycone. These are her traces, very low investment. She doesn't need any, as all it does is improve her damage. The one you want to max out the most is obviously her shield. As for Eidolons, she's probably at E18 or something at this point. I've been keeping count. Yeah, I've probably pulled like 19 copies of March 7th. Okay, next is my Pela. These are her stats. I actually currently have her geared as a sub DPS. I usually don't do that when I use her in MOC, but she's currently geared for pure fiction. This is her Lycone before the tutorial mission starts at S5. Traces are this amount of investment. I've been tempted to put more investment in her ultimate and talent, just for pure fiction, more damage or more energy regeneration, but I've been holding back on that. These are relics. These are basically my Silver Wolf's relics. That's why I had a naked Silver Wolf earlier, if you guys noticed. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 5. Okay, and finally, the last character I'll be going over on my account is Asta. All the other ones that I haven't built up and leveled up, I'm not going to bother. So, here's my Asta. I can't really show you her stats. Her Lycone is not this one. Usually, if I give her a Lycone, it's usually going to be probably Dance, Dance, Dance. Yeah, it's usually Dance, Dance, Dance. Here are her traces. Very low investment. She doesn't need much investment. Although I will unlock this in the future when I do plan on making a team. Mostly of fire characters. That will definitely benefit it. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. Alright, I'm just going to quickly go over my Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction progress, I guess. I haven't done the most recent one. I just did the first couple of stages. And I've cleared everything else out for Memory of Chaos. Or Forgotten Hall. Pure Fiction. I made a video on it a couple days ago. This one was an absolute pain. The first two Pure Fictions weren't terrible, especially the second one. It was super easy because I had both Black Swan and Kafka just to cheese it out. But this one, without any follow-up attack, oh, it was rough. I almost lost my mind doing this. Okay, now I'm going to go over my Simulated Universe progress. I've pretty much beat all the worlds at all difficulties. Here's my index, I guess. I have all the blessings. There's a few occurrences that I'm missing and a few Kuros, but I'm sure we'll unlock them as we play more Simulated Universe. Let's go to Swarm Disaster first. I've pretty much completed everything except for one of the commuting trails, which is the Hunt Path. And this is just pure RNG. You have to pick enough of the Hunt option in order to get this, so I just have to play more Swarm Disaster. I'll probably do it eventually, but I think the only thing you get is this one. You get some credits and some EXP. Actually, no. I think you get... What was it? You get some, like... You get the box. I think it's down here. Yeah, you get some of these pay-to-win trace material boxes, so... I'm not really sure if it's worth the effort. I'll probably do it just for completion's sake, but yeah. There's Swarm Disaster. Now, Golden Gears. I have not played nearly enough of this game mode, so that's why I don't have everything unlocked. And to be frank, it's actually a lot more difficult than Swarm Disaster. After, like, what is it called? The Conundrum level? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. After level 6, it gets so damn difficult. And it's, like, there's actually quite a bit of strategy behind it. Anyways, here's my neutral network. I just recently, I think it was yesterday, that I recently unlocked the full tree. So hopefully that helps out with the gameplay. Now this is the Golden Gears, like the tree that you have to unlock, the different, there's like little levels or something. It's not levels, what is it called? I forgot. But anyways, you unlock this by getting it to your cognition level to a certain amount. So I still have to unlock this, and you get dice essentially, but once you unlock all the dice, you get Stellar Jades and some additional rewards. So, still got to work on this. Let me see here. Dice index. Like I said, I'm missing some of the dice. I'm almost there, though. Yeah, just missing a few of the dice. Missing 4 of them. I'm not going to go over the dice customization and everything. Gameplay rewards. Like I said, I have not been playing much of it. I haven't even finished this one. You just have to beat the Simulated Universe Golden Gears at difficulty 4 and higher on this specific custom dice. I'll probably do it sometime this week. And then the path tests, these are pretty easy because you only need to beat it at difficulty 5. Difficulty 5 is pretty damn easy. It's probably even easier than the Swarm Disaster gameplay mode. Conundrum. This is where things go to hell. I've beat it on level 6 already. And that's where you get all the Stellar Jade rewards. Everything else is just like tiny bits of Relic EXP, Lycone EXP credits. But I'm going to try. I'm going to do my very best to beat level 12 one day. I'm going to make a video on it once I do, but I don't know how long that's going to take. Like I said, I have not grinded on Golden Gears as much as I did on Swarm Disaster, so we'll eventually get there someday. And there's even Advanced Conundrum, which, oh man, these are, you got to use custom dice, and I think there's one, it's only 3 paths at level 10 or higher. I could probably do that with Propagation with Imbiber Lunane, maybe Nihility with Kafka and Black Swan, and we'll see what the last one is. Probably Preservation. That's like my favorite path to go down as it's the safest, although one of the slowest paths also to play this game mode, so we'll see how that turns out. And there you go, that is my simulated universe progress thus far. Alrighty guys, well that's gonna be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. Let me know in the comments below guys, what does your Honkai Star Rail account look like after 1 year? And of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next Honkai Star Rail video. Take care, and peace.